Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. As you can see by the title, today we're going to be studying some film on Mr. Leonard Williams. So I'm excited to study some film on a defensive lineman, especially in the National Football League, because you got a lot of people saying that the game is soft. It ain't as physical as it was back in the day. And in some ways, you could be correct on that. But if you want to see physical football, play after play, game after game, observe and study what goes on in the trenches. Those battles in the trenches with the O-line, the D-line, and those linebackers, that's physical, but specifically for the defensive lineman, that's physicality every single play. Every single play is contact, whether it's a run play or whether it's a pass play. So if you want to see physicality, observe and watch what goes on in those trenches. So on this first play right here, man, this is just pure dominations on Leonard Williams' part. He's a pretty big guy too. I wasn't anticipating him to be this big when I decided I was going to study some film on him. So he's a pretty big guy. He has a pretty good first step too from one of the other clips I seen, just being able to get upfield in a hurry and put pressure on the quarterback. But on this play right here, man, he just simply outman him. Like I'm talking about just manhandle, pretty much. Just push him back, get off me. And then grab Jacoby Brissett with one arm and pull him down. And this was a third down play too, a third and long play. And when you're going up against a team that has a dominant defensive lineman, a guy that can, cause havoc at the offense at the line of scrimmage, you probably want to try to stay out of as many long yardage situations as you can. So like I said on this play right here, I think it might have been like a 3rd and 6, or maybe 3rd and 5, 3rd and 7, something like that. But they was able to get pressure up front with just only rushing 4 guys. And when you got a dominant defensive lineman, man, you're able to just rush 4 and drop everybody else back out in coverage. And that's just a hard recipe to deal with. So right here on this play, man, we got a 3rd and long. Just like I said in the previous play, when you're dealing with a team that got a pretty good defensive line or defensive lineman, you want to try your best to stay out of 3rd and longs. But right here, New England found themselves in a 3rd and long. And this is another benefit to having a strong defensive lineman, a guy who can really disrupt things up front. So on this play right here, notice how they double team number 99, which is Leonard Williams. The center and the guard did a double team on him. So when they double teamed him, 9 times out of 10, when you double team, and now that's given for a one-on-one matchup. So if you look over with the right tackle, he has a one-on-one matchup that he loses. Bam. Then running back didn't help Chip either before he went out to his route. So that didn't help it no better. That didn't make it no better. So then they sent number 58 as if it was like some type of stunt to try to get him a free shot on the quarterback. Because I'm pretty sure they probably was anticipating that Patriots are going to probably try to double team Leonard Williams, especially in a guy to have a situation. That's just good game planning and good preparation to make sure that you, in those situations, that we double team him. So having a guy that can be that disruptive up front, man, it just causes a lot of havoc. And once again, just like on the previous play, and I know New England has some offensive line struggles too, so it probably wasn't like this for every team that they played, but not having not having consistent offensive line play going up against a team like, Seattle, it can make things very, very, very uncomfortable for you over that day. But notice how they only was able to rush 4 and was able to get pressure. And like I said, man, when you can rush 4 guys only and drop everybody else back into pass coverage, especially in gotta have it pass situations, man, it makes it very rough for an offense to have to try to combat that. So right here on this play, man, Atlanta actually played this the best that you can play it offensive line wise. I mean, when you look at number 58, the outside backer, he actually was the closest to having a sack originally right here. Boom. If the offensive lineman doesn't come and help knock him down, then that's a sack. So good awareness on the offensive lineman part. Even when you look at the left tackle, he had this guy hemmed up over there. So his guy wasn't really doing too much of nothing. And then when you look at number 90, he was pretty much hemmed up too up until Leonard Williams get the sack. So the secondary was able to hold up, which allowed for Leonard Williams to be able to put himself back in position to make a play. Whereas if the secondary didn't hold up and offensive line did like they did in this play, man, that probably would have been a first down conversion. Even if it might have been dealing with a mobile quarterback, he probably would have had a lane to be able to get out of there. But just good effort on Leonard Williams' end, man. Like I always talk about on every play, man, effort is going to take you a long way. I know we always talk about athleticism and all those things, but if you don't have the consistent effort to give 100% or the best that you can do play after play, then all those things mean it really don't make a difference, honestly, if you want to be completely honest. So on this play right here, like I said, you look at Leonard Williams, who was initially kind of blocked and out of position, kept fighting and put himself back in position to make a play. So watch this play right here, man. This is another play that's just pure domination, man. It shows you just how dominant. It shows you the value of a dominant defensive lineman. So look at number 99, man. They tried to double team him, and it still was not enough. he's just tossing around offensive linemen as if they're toys, man. Like, look at how he do number 72. Like, he just moved number 72 out the way, like as if it wasn't nothing. Like, boom, get out the way. And then just collapse the pocket. So like I say, man, when you got a guy, especially who's doing that damage kind of from more so towards the interior, you know what I mean? Because the straightest line to the quarterback, or the quickest route to the quarterback from point A to point B is a straight line. You know, with your edge rushers have to kind of take angles, those wider angles, to try to possibly get pressure like number 58 is doing right there. But when you got a guy who can just shoot straight up the middle, whether he's being double teamed or not, and cause that much havoc, man, it makes life for an offense very difficult. And I'm gonna tell you something else too that I didn't get a chance to mention on previous clip. Another thing about being able to just rush 4 guys, as we've seen so far with Seattle, is that if you're able to have success with just rushing 4, most of the time offenses are probably going to try to combat that with keeping their running back in the back out of pass patterns to try to help block, or even get your tight ends to stay back, or to get your tight ends or running back to chip before they can go out in their routes. So when you say for instance, if you keep your running back in the backfield to try to help with a block, that's one less man you have out there running routes. And if you have your tight end having to try to chip before he gets into his route, sometimes that split second delay can result in a sack. You know, we've seen what Philadelphia was able to do with Kansas City, and how much success they had with Kansas City just being able to rush 4 guys and drop everybody else back in coverage. And Kansas City were having to try to pull guys out of coverage to come help, and you only got 3 guys in the route out running routes, and man, that makes it very difficult for offense. So a few things to unpack on this play right here. So you remember in the previous clip when I told you the benefits of being able to consistently rush 4 and get pressure on it? The same thing ended up happening on this exact play right here. So the Seahawks, they showed as if they was going to send a blitzer with number 13, as if they had him around the line of scrimmage, as if he was going to come in on the blitz, and he ended up dropping back into pass coverage. So think about this. So we're just rushing 4 guys. You got 4 guys rushing a quarterback, and now you have 7 guys back in pass coverage. Now, let me show you where you hurt yourself as well. So remember previously when I was talking about in the previous clip about having to keep guys back to help for protection, or to have guys chip. So that's exactly what they did here on this play. So you had the tight end chip Leonard Williams from the outside right here before he went into his pass route. Then you had the running back chip the guy on the opposite side before he went out. So prior to that, you only had, 3 receivers going out for a route? Yeah, 3 receivers. And the other 2 were back trying to help in pass protection. So like I said, once again, that's one of the benefits of being able to rush just 4 guys, having a defensive lineman that causes that much havoc. It helps out on the back end in terms of the pass coverage. Now, granted, on this play right here, too, you always hear Coach Belichick talk about containing quarterbacks, especially the mobile ones, just like Kyler Murray. So, you know, you never kind of want to run past the quarterback, because when you run past them, especially a mobile one, and they step up, that's a running lane, you know. But just so happened right here, the pressure, not just from Leonard's side, but the other defensive lineman, the interior lineman, you know, it prevented Kyler Murray from really being able to step up. And he dropped back a little bit too far, so he kind of took himself out of position as well. But, man, like I said, that's the benefits of being able to just consistently get pressure rushing 4. Everybody else that you have can drop back into pass coverage. So to the naked eye, this play might not look like much, but to me, this play is a thing of beauty. Why? Because I'm looking at the effort that Leonard Williams get. For one, let me put some into perspective. This is what I try to tell people whenever we're talking about the NFL. This is how talented the NFL is. You have number 99, Leonard Williams, who is a defensive lineman, right? This is not a linebacker. This is a defensive lineman that has a pretty decent angle on Kyler Williams, but it's pretty much beating Kyler Williams to the point of trying to get the first down. So for one, the effort that he gives, if he doesn't fight off, if he doesn't detach from the block, being blocked and pursue Kyler Murray, that's a first down. So now you got the defensive back who's coming down eventually, who would have possibly made the tackle, But I mean, that's a big if, with Kyler Murray running free with full momentum, who knows if he's able to bring him down in the open field. But with Leonard Williams pursuing on this play, it makes Kyler Murray slow down. It makes him slide. Whereas if he didn't pursue, that would have been a first down, or that most likely it would have been a first down, and it would have been a one-on-one matchup with a pretty athletic, fast quarterback in open space with your defensive back. And you don't idealistically want that matchup. But like I always talk about, man, effort is one of those things that is free to give. And it's a beautiful thing whenever you see people giving it play in and play out. So to me, man, this is a thing of beauty, man. If he doesn't pursue Kyler Murray, that's a first down. And depending on the defensive back, man, that might even be more than that in a one-on-one open field tackle situation. So watch this, man. This is ridiculous. This is a grown man handling another grown man like he's a child, like he's a toddler, man. It's just some of these rushes that we're seeing with him. It's not necessarily all about the first step. It's not all about the rip. It's not all about the swim move. It's just pure domination. Like I'm talking about just coming off the line, putting hands on the chest and just pushing him back until he gets to the quarterback. And then if I don't push him back into the quarterback, then that's when I'm going to utilize my rips or my swim techniques to be able to get the sack. So, man, this is just pure domination on this end right here, man. It's almost similar to the first play. For those who say that football isn't physical, like I said, pay attention to what goes on in those battles of the trenches. Because if you want to see physical football, this right here is physical football at its finest. So I'm going to end it off right here with this play, man. And this play right here has been the embodiment of Leonard Williams' season, man. Just direct paths to the quarterback. Now, I ain't going to say all of them was direct paths. Some plays that he did have to do a little bit more extra work to try to get to the quarterback due to double teams and things like this. But just being able to time the snap, first step, and just being able to swim over number 73 and just get straight in the backfield to Jimmy Garoppolo. And not only that, is able to pull him down with one hand, with one arm. You know what I mean? Is able to pull him down. This is a grown man that he just easily swim moved past. Boom, get out the way. Jimmy G try to roll out. Come here. Grab him by his jersey. Pull him down with one hand, man. This guy right here was just disrupting offensive lines from what I've seen all year, man. He finished off the season with 64 combination tackles, 27 assisted tackles, 11.0 sacks, and 1 interception. I wish they would have had the interception in the video, so I would have had a chance to kind of look at that. I want to know if it was from a tip of his own, or was it a tip from somebody else, or that they somehow, push him back into coverage and he was able to get one, then just kind of watching the quarterback's eyes, man. But I think that one of the things that I noticed about watching this too was that Seattle has a pretty decent defensive line as a whole, not just with him, just being able to constantly get pressure. And like I said, man, as a defense, if we can consistently get pressure with just rushing four up front, no blitzes, just rushing forward, we can drop everybody else back into pass coverage. So like I said, what does that do? You have 7 guys back in the pass coverage now. And if the pass rush is that much of a problem, now they have to try to pull guys out of possible route runners in the passing game to be able to try to stay back and block or to even chip before they get into their route, which it creates a lot of havoc. I know I keep saying, I know this probably sounds like a broken record, but this is a good analogy. Like I always go back to the Super Bowl from this past season with the Seahawks and the Eagles, and you've seen how disruptive the Eagles were in the Super Bowl against Kansas City, man, with just only rushing 4. So, man, when you have a defensive line that you can just rush forward with up front, man, it creates a lot of havoc. And then just having one individual like Leonard Williams, because a guy like that requires so much attention with double teams and things like that. So it allows other guys to be able to flourish and to be able to make plays because so much attention goes into stopping him. But, man, if you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that post notification bell. That way you be notified every time I upload, man. And I'll see y'all in the next video.